How's everyone doing? I want to welcome everybody to podcast number 1. My very first podcast as a host. This is the ownership journey. And the focus for this is on business ownership, sometimes through franchising. Today, I am super excited to have Dylan on this podcast. He is not just an old client of mine, but he is actually a good friend of mine. I've had the pleasure in working with him. Dylan comes from a family of entrepreneurs. His father owned a successful coffee business in Salt Lake City. After his father's passing in 2020, Dylan found himself at a crossroads, and in early 2023, we connected as he was considering his next steps. We'll be talking about Dylan's transition from focusing on getting a job to finding his path as a business owner, and how a powerful dream helped shape his decision to go down the entrepreneurship path. This is all part of the ownership journey we explore on this podcast. All right, well, let's just get into it. So first of all, welcome, Dylan.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. Dylan, can you tell us about your life maybe before 2020, before your father's passing? What was it like growing up with an entrepreneurship father? And how did that influence your perspective on business ownership?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess I'll start from the beginning. Obviously being young and dad owning the business, it's, hey, we got to go to work, so learn from an early age. Hey, if it needs done, somebody's got to do it. I enjoyed the growing up aspect because, how many kids get a big old warehouse they get to run through and play around when they're not working. But I also saw, on the ownership side, what it really took for somebody to get to where he got, the hardship, the time and energy it took. A lot of the time it was me and the siblings playing. He was busy working. But I also got to see some of the things he was able to do in other people's lives by owning that business and doing it, running it the way he thought it should be ran. So before went off to college, didn't know if I was coming home. Dad reached out, hey, I got work for you if you want to come back. So I signed up, went back, and I also built a relationship with him through the work side of being at the office and doing different projects and whatever needed to be done. But yeah, I came back and it was, big plans for the business and, moving forward, kind of certain ideas that we had floating around. And that was pretty much, once I came back, it was, I'm going to work with dad. And, I enjoyed it. And the older I got, the more I got to find out what really went into the business ownership side.
Excellent, excellent. You know, when your father passed away, you found yourself at a significant crossroads. I mean, what were some of the thoughts and emotions you were dealing with at that time, especially when it came to your career and your future?
Yeah. Yeah, obviously when that happened, my goal and my hope was, hey, I can keep his company how he had it. I looked at it as, hey, I've been going to work the longest out of the kids. I know the most, this and that. And it was just, I was a part of it so much that I was like, hey, now it's my job to make sure it stays dad's company. And, I went through quitting and going back and forth, trying to do that. And I finally realized, I don't know if this is even an option. He's gone. And that obviously impacted the company quite a bit on that side. And that's the first time I was like, hey, I need to go find a new career. And it was pop on LinkedIn, even how you and I got in touch with each other. It was, I need to start finding a new job after thinking, hey, I'm going to be with this company forever and keep, the Brog business going.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the major thing is when I started looking, like I said, I got in touch with you or you got in touch with me. That's kind of when things started to transition a little bit more. but it was definitely something that, I didn't know if I was ready because I was bought in. Hey, I'm going to do
Mm-hmm.
this thing with dad. And, overnight it was, hey, you no longer work with your dad. And, what are you going to do? I had to figure it out. I'm going to learn from dad. We're going to build this thing. And that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden it was completely, where do you go from here?
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. I know it's probably not easy to talk about. You had mentioned when you and I first connected, you were really more focused on finding a job at that point. You,
For
you
sure.
know, what made you consider entrepreneurship as a path, especially after coming from a family, a father that was an entrepreneur?
Yeah, it was obviously always probably in the back of my mind. But like you said, I wasn't looking to go start something or to build something. It was literally, I was on LinkedIn looking for a job. And even when you reached out, I didn't know much on the franchising side. And I was like, this guy's hit me up. What do you want? You know? And it was just so like natural and just you asking questions. And that was part of it was, forgot what it was, but pretty much me discovering myself and what other options are out there. And you're like, hey, take it, at your own pace. I'm just here to help. And like getting the information from you and then you leading me into finding out more about, hey, what does Dylan want long term and how is he going to get there? What are your goals and everything? That until that conversation happened, I knew nothing about franchise. And then the more you and
Gotcha.
I talked, it was, dad had all the answers. He probably had to fail a high number of times to get those, and it took time and it was difficult. It was hard. I'm sure, it impacted his life in a lot of ways, but that was talking with you. It's, hey, I don't have all the answers, but I do see this as a tool to get to where I want to be one day and to not only be successful, but happy and fulfilled. I think
Mhm.
that's part of it is, when it came to, hey, now I'm just a route driver, that changed things. When it's, hey, I'm a
Yeah.
route driver for my dad in this business, it was completely different. And I think talking with you, that really opened my eyes up to not only is this possible, but for this to be possible and me to get where I'm going, franchising is by far the best option for that.
Awesome. Dylan, there was a pivotal moment in our journey, and it's when you shared a very powerful dream with me that still sticks with me today, that helped, you know, that really kind of helped guide you. Can you tell our listeners about that dream and how it influenced your decision to explore franchising instead of returning to a traditional job?
Yeah. Well, I'll start it off easy because it sits on my desk. Got this from a close friend of mine.
The
But
school bus, the school bus.
yes, Scott got me my first school bus. Um, but that really was super pivotal moment because I didn't even, ask myself that question a whole lot. It was just, hey, one day, this is going to happen. And then once I told you about it, like it stuck with me to the point where, hey, franchising is my way to get to this goal. And essentially, I want to buy 10, 20 acres. I mean, maybe more if it's working. I want to bus up underprivileged kids and, special needs kids. A lot of these kids, especially a little bit older, it's, they feel alone. They feel like nobody's there. And that doesn't really sit with me well. And they, I'm sure, have a million questions, and I can't imagine how hard that is to deal with. But I
Mhm.
want to run camps, couple, maybe a few times a year, bust these kids up and teach them, life lessons, different skill sets, and, be there that if they're in that home or that situation next year, they can at least look forward to coming to my camp. And then
Yeah.
when they graduate, or come of age where they're no longer in a home or anything, then we'll throw a ceremony and I want to be able to set them up. What are you interested in? Oh, well, I have these contacts. Hey, teach this kid and do that. I don't want it to be just when you're at camp, you have people that have your back and are here for you. I want to be there for them as their life goes on, and hopefully they can do that for the next person. And that's kind of the idea behind that.
Wow. And at your age, that's very rare these days, and that stuck out. I remember you were in your van on the side of the road on a Zoom call, and I asked you that question, and I mean, I almost fell out of my chair. One thing I do kind of want to pivot here a little bit, and let our listeners know that Dylan actually, out of 20 clients that were nominated, Dylan won Client of the Year with the Entrepreneur Source. And really what that award is all about is how did entrepreneurship affect somebody's life and the dream. And I was able and privileged to share that story with my colleagues, my team. And what was fascinating is that there was 250 people that got to vote on that, and Dylan came out on top. And never forget that dream, buddy. But, like I say, dreams without goals are just dreams. So I know you've got a lot of goals. So,
Oh, yeah. And I guess that's the school bus. The school bus
the school bus.
We're going to
Yes.
get a fleet of school buses.
Yes.
Nobody asked. I already told Scott he can drive the first one. So
Yes, I can't wait.
We'll rally the school buses up and just throw these caps on for everybody. So.
Awesome. Once you made the decision to explore franchising, what were some of the challenges you faced in making the transition from what we call a job seeker to a business owner? And, how did you navigate that shift?
Honestly, a lot of it was honestly our communication between each other and me able to come to you and tell you about these worries or concerns once we started looking at it. Hey, whether it's investment, whether it's, hey, can I do it? Or what is it really going to take? But honestly, once it was, hey, here's my dream. How do I do that? Is, hey, through franchising, I'll be able to obtain that dream. But to fully say, you know what, this is 110% what I'm doing. Even, we looked at a few different franchises and I had a few different options and, my decision changed, but it was also me bringing up concerns to you and you say, well, Dylan, with where I was at in my life, we could brainstorm why this franchise might be better than this one. And it was pretty much, because I didn't know anything about franchising, what questions to ask, what to be looking for. And that's where probably a lot of our communication. I mean, I missed my flight one day.
Yes, you did.
I grew up playing soccer and I've never once missed a flight in my life. And I'm going out to visit a franchise, meet the team day. And I wake up and my plane's boarding. And I go, what do I do? So all I did was like, I got to call Scott. So I called you and you're like, hey, just get a one-way. I'll pick you up. Haven't even met you in person yet. And
Right.
I remember you picked me up. We drove. We were able to see your mentor, and which was super cool to see my mentor. Hey, who was yours? And to just be at that table for me, it was, hey, it was definitely memorable. And in a way, I'm glad I missed that flight.
Yes, exactly.
But it was crazy. And even back to that was, you were the one I called. It was, hey, Scott, hey, what do? I messed up. and then you just, hey, we can figure this out. Just do this and like problem solved.
Right
But yeah,
on.
that was huge.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, you know, what were some of the key factors that help you choose the franchise model that you're eventually in, right now? I mean, were there any doubts along the way?
With it being obviously my first franchise, I think there's always some doubts there. The main thing was with where I'm at in my life was obviously the investment cost was big.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, obviously when I could reach out to other owners and pick their brain was seeing what kind of model I knew I was signing up for. I'm owner operator. I'm going to be here every single day. This is, this is my baby. I'm building it, and I want it to reflect me through the business, whether it's how we treat customers, each other, employees, whatever it is. But when it came to deciding on which franchise I also looked at what are my skills,
Mm-hmm.
what am I good at, what do I enjoy, what are the possibilities of, hey, what can I do if I choose this franchise? So a lot of this franchise I liked is I can decide what type of work we do, what jobs we want to take on, and it just had such a variation of tasks involved that enticed me. And then obviously the people within the franchise. You
Good.
go meet the team, you meet other
Mm-hmm.
owners. Do you mesh with them? Do they have your best interests? Things like that.
Cool. Awesome. So now you haven't been a business owner for very long, and I know there's always bumps in the road with anything, but since you've been a business owner, can you kind of give me just a little framework of how your life has changed compared to where you're at when we connected in 2023?
Yeah. I'm definitely working more. What I can tell you is I have yet to reach a day where I'm walking in down the hall to the office and I go, I have to go to work. Hey, it's go time. This is ours. This is my team. My guys, Denise, whoever it is, are great. And they know, I've shared my dream why I'm doing this with them. And I'm surrounded by great people. So yeah, I know, hey, we're building it. It's going to take all my time. Relationships, they have less time, this and that, but I haven't been more fulfilled, whether it's a good day or a bad day. And I'm learning every day. There's so many different ways to do it. And again, sometimes you got to make a mistake to learn the right way to do things. Just pick
Absolutely.
and choose those moments where you can afford certain mistakes. But I would definitely say I am more fulfilled day in and day out. And the longer days, yeah, they might be longer days, but they're easier for me because I know the effort and work I'm putting in,
Mm-hmm.
where that's going to take me. We'll have
Very
those
cool.
school buses, we'll have the foundation, things like
Yes.
that. And like when you look at it that way, it's hard to say, hey, that was a bad day. It may have been tough, may have been long. Hey, but we learned from today. We're not going to make the same mistake and we just got better. That means we're that much closer to reaching our goal.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Perfect. Um, what has been, let's just say, the most valuable lessons you've learned on this journey, both from your experience and from your father's legacy as a business owner?
Yeah, a lot of it is I still get surprised on who I'm becoming. Even throughout this journey, is that's part of it. It's not, hey, what's in the bank or this or that. It's who I've become and who I'm trying to become through running this business is that's a huge part is, I'm responsible for employees. I'm also friends with those employees. They have families, they have children, they have expenses. It's my job, it's not just me putting in time for me to get a check anymore. Now my time reflects on to Denise, Kurt, all my guys. And that's something, the responsibility and making sure, hey, I don't drop the ball for them because they're here every day for me. That was definitely eye-opening on the sense of business ownership. And honestly, when anybody in the company, if it's, hey, we need an answer and nobody knows it, you better figure it out. It's
Yeah.
on you. But, you're not right all of the time, but the reasoning behind certain decisions, if you keep that true to you and what you stand for and how you want the company to be, then okay, if you mess up, that's fine. You mess up trying to do it right. learn from it, and fix it. That would be a huge one.
Cool. There's so many people out there, so many people that, they're at that crossroads. Should I go get another job or explore business ownership? I mean, what advice for somebody that has kind of stepped away from that into, self-sufficiency, ownership, what advice would you give them?
I would say whether it's franchising or thinking of doing it on your own, go find yourself a coach. I mean, I would argue and say find yourself a Scott, but I know there's great coaches, but make sure when you also find that mentor for you, make sure, I lucked out with you. It was every single crossroad or hiccup or doubt that I had. It was you looked at it in my best interest. You easily could have said, just do this. But it was, hey, Dylan, and you told me from day one, I know you now. We're getting to know each other. I will tell you, if I don't think it's right for you, just based off of I want you to succeed. And I would go find that mentor and pick their brain. I don't know how many texts, whether it's work or unwork related, I send you. But like I did, we built a friendship, and
Absolutely.
which is amazing when you look at, hey, you're not just a mentor, but you're a best friend, and you've looked out for me. You've been there. I don't think if it was just me on my own, I would sit down, dig into the details and the nitty gritty about franchising, and be comfortable enough to say I'm willing to take this leap into business ownership. And I look back, I haven't been running it for very long, but I look back even before I decided that I was going to do this. And I'm like, oh, if you just knew then what you knew now, you would have been kicking yourself if you didn't do this. And now it's like, I don't know if I ever could have had the opportunity to get those school buses. And now I come in every day and I'm like, hey, we made payroll. We're here. We got customers. Our reviews, we're treating people right. We're on track, and we're going to get those school buses. But to think,
Yes.
without running into you and having our conversations and building that friendship, and there's times you challenge me. You ask the hard questions that I wasn't asking myself, and that kind of allowed me to understand me a bit more, especially in the time of, hey, I just lost my dad. At that crossroad and dealing with that is I was lost in more than just a career aspect, but you getting, those questions to me and then me just telling you how it was like, oh, this is me. Oh yeah, we're going to do it. Let's go chase this thing.
Awesome. Awesome. One final question, Dylan, before we wrap up, I'd like you to share a bit about, Handyman Connection, obviously the business you own there in Canyon Rim, south of Salt Lake City. How can our listeners connect with you or support your business? I mean, what kind of services do you offer, and how can people spread the word about the work you're doing?
Yeah, no, I'd say, I mean, first of all, it's in the name. It's Handyman Connection. I tried to be that one call and that one connection. I still have customers that call me 3 or 4 projects. I haven't touched one of them because, hey, I don't do that work, but I know somebody and I trust them. And, we vet all of our guys. We background check so you're comfortable with them in your home. We do just about anything from remodels to the honey-do list items. We offer a handyman for a half day and a full day. That way you can have your 10 items on your list. And I saw it as to get a licensed contractor in your home that you can trust, that is a real-time company, to do that one drywall patch. It's hard to find that guy. And it's hard to, it's your home. It's probably one of your biggest investments. And to trust somebody to come in and do what they say and do it right and do it for a fair price. And so with these punchless items, I can patch your drywall, then go fix your trim, then your garbage disposal, then come paint. And so that would be more bang for your buck. And then, yeah, pretty much we do a little bit of exterior work, whether it's fence, paint, siding. We do all sorts of it. We get calls all the time that we didn't know, hey, these would be the jobs we're doing, but hey, they need somebody to do it. And I have really skilled craftsmen that they enjoy those jobs. Hey, this is a custom job and it's to build that relationship with the customer. Why do you want this done? What are you envisioning? And then bringing that to life. If I can come fix a deck, that's great. You tell me, hey, you need your deck fixed because the kids are coming home from college and you love hanging out there. We jump on those and we'll fix your deck, but it gets us excited when a customer, sends us a text when their family is in town. Hey, they all love the deck. Thank you so much.
Nice.
And that's what we enjoy is, yes, we're running a business, but we want to also be that connection with our customers that they trust us and they know we're looking out for their best interests as well.
Very cool. Give a quick plug. How does somebody get in touch with you? Website, phone number, throw it out there.
Get in touch. The easiest would be a email or look up our website, Handyman Connection, forward dash Canyon Rim. Our office line is 801-509, and you can text or call that number. We also do virtual estimates too. So if you're just interested in a ballpark price, we can give it to you. If you like it, we can send a craftsman out and they'll walk you through the project. And yeah, I would say just call the office or find us online and send us an email or just call in.
Perfect. Dylan, I truly, truly thank you for your time. I'm so proud of you as, a mentor, big brother, great friend. Love supporting you along the journey, and I appreciate your time. And for anybody out there that may be listening to this, and you're considering your own path, whether it's, business ownership, career transition, reach out to me. I've got a great network of people to help people out. Please, subscribe to this. It's The Ownership Journey. I'll throw it up there on YouTube, and we'll go from there. Dylan, I appreciate your time, pal.
Oh, yeah. No, thanks as always. And I'm looking forward to those buses. Give me a little bit more time.
Yes.
And we'll have to do a podcast in the first bus.
We will do a podcast in the first bus because I'm going to be driving it.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Love it. All right, my friend. Have a great night.
All right. Thanks, Scott.
All right. See you.